All right, so finals are over. I have a little free time right now, and Yig is over, so I thought, hey, why don't I, film a video? Sorry my lighting is bad. I have a window which is providing all my light over there. Anyways, we're gonna go through the worst Stanford House bills, or Sanford House bills. No one calls it Sanford, everyone calls it Stanford. Starting off with eliminate state mandated minimum wage laws, bill number 5002. An act to eliminate state mandated minimum wage laws, and where essentially we'd be, as it says, eliminating state mandated minimum wage laws, which ours in the state that I live in are higher than the federal minimum. And it's almost impossible in the state I live in to even make a living working minimum wage. So that's a yikes. And their purpose was, the purpose of eliminating state minimum wage laws is to put businesses and their employees in better economic situations. Sure, put the business in a better economic situation, but the employee? Minimum wage laws hurt businesses by enforcing them to pay employees more than they can afford. Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure a business doesn't get that hurt by it. But that's just me. Minimum wage laws hurt workers and destroy jobs according to the National Bureau of Economic Research and the 2014 Congressional Budget Office report. Removing the state's minimum wage law would not take away a city's ability to set minimum wage laws, but it would remove the state's ability to set them. So, what's the point then? If states can mandate it, but like the city can't, the state can't? I'm confused. Why? Anyways, it is important to remember that federal minimum wage laws would not be affected by this bill. Local minimum wage laws would also not be affected. The bill is strictly referring to my state's minimum wage law, mandating at $7.87 an hour, and first off, that's a lie, because ours is higher. But when we were in debates, you want to know what this kid said? Well, Washington had increased their minimum wage and 500,000 people lost their jobs. However, that's extrapolating. We can't do that. You can't just say, oh, because we raised the wages, people lost their jobs, thereby us lowering them, we're gonna get jobs. Sure, it might sound like it would work, but it doesn't mean it will. It doesn't correlate. We're not raising the minimum wage. We're getting rid of it. We're setting it to hold on. Federal is $5.25. So we'd be reducing it, according to this bill, by at least 50 cents for no reason. The funding. No funding would be required to eliminate state minimum wage laws. You're just fucking over anyone who's living paycheck to paycheck and has a minimum wage. I don't know. I don't think this kid knew what he was doing. And the effective date was, the elimination of state-mandated minimum wage laws would be put into effect January 1st, 2020. First off, I've said state-mandated minimum wage laws like 30 times now, and I'm losing my mind. But I don't think this kid understood. Sure, lower wages means more people are working, but it also means people aren't making a living. If anything historically has taught us, you would need multiple people to be working a minimum wage job to have a substantial living. Like, people who are already, the cost of living, a living wage, according to livingwage.mit.edu, is $11.96. And poverty is seen at 5.8, with the minimum in my state actually being 9.86. So they're already below living wage. It's just, let's make it worse for them, you know? I don't know. Next bill. Again, I was in Commerce Committee this year, so a lot of the ones I'm seeing are all from Commerce. So, Bill number 5004. An act to allow employees receiving treatment for cancer to continue to be paid by employer during the duration of treatment. See, Commerce Committee was pretty bipolar. Like, there was a side that was super progressive, and there was a side that was super conservative. And this was one of the more progressive bills, and, like, you know, I've sided more with the progressives, but this one just wasn't economically feasible. It'd be placing too much stress on a business, especially if it's a small business. The purpose. The purpose of this bill is to provide pay while cancer patients are away from work getting treatment. Treatment is expensive, and when someone doesn't have an income for a long period of time, it can be very hard to cover those costs. A worker must miss a 50-day cancer treatment should get paid for one of those days. What? I'm actually more confused reading this. Funding. The funding will come directly from the employer. So we're saying we're going to force the employer to pay for someone who isn't working. It would be of the employer's own charitable kindness. It should be of the employer's own charitable kindness to, in fact, pay the employee who isn't working because they have cancer. But that just, it just doesn't work. It's just putting too much stress on a business for someone who isn't working, and it's not their liability, you know? Next bill. It's right next door. Bill number 5005, an act to promote business growth in the state. Section 1, purpose. The purpose of this bill is to change the minimum corporate tax and state income tax tax rates. The corporate tax would drop from 9.8% to 7.8%. Also, the state income tax will change as follows. The top marginal tax rate would drop from 9.85% to 9%. Each bracket after would drop 1.25%. So, I was in debate. We were debating this literally everyone, or there was 4 kids in the Senate when this got to the Senate, because somehow this got to the Senate. It passed committee and the House, and it still reached Senate, and we were, ready to shut it down. Anyways, essentially, he was arguing that because the Laffer curve, which is an economic theory in which somewhere along the tax rates, if we reach the certain sweet spot, we'll maximize profits for, the government. But nobody knows where it actually is. So he's saying he's trying to justify cutting our tax rates for corporate tax and income tax to 2% to try and maximize the money that we're making, because it should promote business growth, because cutting taxes does inevitably promote business growth. But essentially what we're saying is, because of some economic theory that not that many economists believe in, I mean, some do, some don't. Because of that theory that is so 50-50, we should cut our tax rates. And we have nothing to supplement our funding. We'd be cutting out millions to billions of dollars to hopefully reach this Laffer curve point. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. The next thing was, I think he was using this to justify, bringing in small businesses. Because I think the guy said he, owned his own small business, and he was, trying to find, go in a state outside, because we have such a high corporate and income tax rate in my state. But, he specifically mentions in his bill bringing on Fortune 500s when my state is, in fact, a Fortune 500 state. It is ridiculous, and I feel like this kid didn't understand what he was doing again. Next bill. The bill number 5007, an act to implement a user tax on select goods and services. Purpose. The purpose of the bill is to properly allocate taxation to those who use select government services. This will help to prevent unnecessary government spending and create a more efficient and limited government body. Okay. Justification. Citizens are often paying too much or too little tax based on the services that are provided and used by governments and citizens. That's like, why did you split that into two sentences? For example, people who heavier vehicles should pay for more taxes for the road because of the toll it takes on them. People who don't use public schools should not have to pay taxes for them. Alright, I feel like you kind of get the point. I'm a little confused. I mean, I get what he's saying. People who aren't using a service shouldn't have to pay for everyone else using a service. Sure. But, like, we don't live in that society. We live in a democracy. You know? Anyways, the funding is what really got me going. If these aspects of the user tax are carried out, there will be a drawback to public school funding. Therefore, the tax dollars given to Planned Parenthood should be reallocated and given to the public schools each year. Planned Parenthood practice of abortion is supremely unconstitutional, and Roe versus Wade should be overturned by the Supreme Court. I don't know about you, but I find it's really weird that he injects his own opinion on constitutionality, which is something a Supreme Court should do, which is why the Supreme Court Roe v. Wade is the way it is, because the judges... Oh my god. I'm losing my mind. Essentially, he's saying, because I believe that Planned Parenthood is unconstitutional, because that's my interpretation of the Constitution, not the Supreme Court's interpretation, I think we should take away Planned Parenthood's funding, which is something a lot of girls use for the better of their lives. You know? Effective date, January 14, 2019. I'm pretty sure we are past that date. I looked it down to see if I had a watch on, and I have never worn a watch except for when I'm running. Next bill. House File 5010. Enact to make colleges affordable. Purpose. Many young Americans can't afford college. Not because they're unqualified, but because they can't afford it. Those who are leaving college are faced with crushing debt. This isn't fair, and it is a crisis in America today. I agree. But it doesn't specify how the purpose of the bill isn't your justification. The purpose of the bill is to outline what your bill is going to do. I know this might seem crazy, but that doesn't outline what the bill's supposed to do. Justification. Many young Americans decide to drop out of college because it's too expensive. Making college affordable will allow students to attend college and get their education that they need without worrying about being in any debt. Each year, the percentage rate of students dropping out right after high school is growing, and they spell enormously so wrong, and need to stop. I'm not kidding. It says, and need to stop. Definition. Student loans is a type of loan designated to help students pay for post-secondary education and fees like tuition, books, and supplies. Debt, money that is owed or due. And tuition fees, money that you paid to be taught, especially in college and university. Okay, sure. Funding. Funding students access to tax-deductible donations, increase the amount of federal aid awards. Increase the amount of federal financial aid schools award to students, using money from taxes to fund financial aid. It's just badly written, first off, and I feel bad because I know, like, people care about this stuff, but if you're gonna submit something, you should, like, double check it, triple check it, quadruple check it, spell it right, make sure you're using Grammarly, like, make sure your grammar's impeccable, and it's just not. And, like, they're not outlining what they need to do, you know? It's just, yikes. The next one over is, like, I'm just gonna give it a brief mention. It's an act to redefine shoplifting laws to minors, aka, when we were in debate, it was basically saying, hey, if you shoplift when you're a minor, it's no longer on your record. Even though, like, you can expunge your record if you're, like, committing a misdemeanor when you turn 18. So, you know, it's weird. House File 5103, an act to require public high schools to start at 8:30 a.m. This was in the Education Committee. I wasn't in Education Committee this year, so, you know, I didn't get to see this because they clearly killed it for a good reason. Purpose. The purpose of the bill is to increase high school students' learning by increasing their amount of sleep. This will be done by pushing back the public high school starts time to 8:30. Alright, so essentially, my school starts at 8:20, so I'm only getting an extra 10 minutes. And I already have to wake up early enough as is, so I'll just be sitting at school for an extra 10 minutes every day before the bell rings. Justification. According to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, high school should start no earlier than 8:30. So yeah, let's just push it right on the dot. I don't know. Doctors saying that starting school early in the morning prevents students from getting a full night of sleep, which affects their overall health and academic performance. Alright, I agree. However, I do this to myself. I don't sleep, and I do it to myself. It is not the school's fault I don't sleep. Anyways, I feel like we all get the gist of that one. Let's move on. I feel like there's more egregious bills to get to. Woo! House File 5105, an act to require a gifted and talented program in all public elementary and middle schools in in my states. Alright. Purpose. The purpose of the bill is to provide a better education for gifted and talented students. You're literally not even outlining what you're trying to do. You're just saying, yeah, let's say this. And then it's like the government being like, it's literally the government during the Prohibition era. The government's like, don't drink. And everyone's like, gosh darn diddly dang, I guess I've got to go down to the saloon. Literally. It's doing nothing. Just the funding. A study from Davidson Institute found that only 32 states provide some form of additional funding for gifted and talented students. The federal government does not provide gifted and talented funding to school districts, though the Jacob K. Javits Gifted and Talented Education Program. The funding for the Javits program is $12 million annually, which equates to $2.50 to $4 per gifted and talented student in this country. To help provide funding, property tax would be increased by 0.01%. Here's where I'm coming from. Kids at youth in government don't understand how taxes work. They don't understand how drastic a 0.5, a 0.01, a 0.001 is. It brings in billions of dollars. 0.05 in my state brings in at least $18 billion a year. That's insane. These kids don't understand how much money gets brought in. And I can never approve of bills that do this. It drives me insane. I don't know. Alright, we're gonna keep going. Next bill. House File 5109. An act to use JROTC as a gym credit. Alright. Purpose. It's really short, so I'm reading this all out. Purpose. The purpose of the bill is to allow students who are in JROTC to replace a gym credit with this course requirement. Justification. For those who are in the program, go through a workout routine twice a week, if not more, and fulfill / surpass the requirements for gym. Yet students still have to take gym class because it is mandatory to graduate. Definitions. JROTC, or the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, is a federal program sponsored by the United States Armed Forces in high schools and also in some middle schools across the United States and United States military bases across the world. This person has a problem with repeating themselves. Section 4, funding. The only funding required would be to ensure the JROTC instructors would have the correct physical education licensure. Section 5, penalties and enforcements. No penalties or enforcements needed. An effective date, May 2019. Alright, so you're implementing it into a school. You're not going to start, like, it never fully works out. Every single time, you're, like, getting to the end and there's just something that's so drastically wrong. First off, the drastically wrong thing is just suck it up. Go to gym, you know? It's not that big of a deal. Ooh, I'm doing some federal military training. Just go to gym. You'll be a healthier person. The goal for gym is to make a student a healthier person. Just go to gym. Secondly, who cares? So what? You work out. Literally, I ran track. Did that mean I was excused from gym? No. I'm just so annoyed. Next bill. Bill number 5110, an act to require mandatory class size reduction. The purpose, limiting class sizes to 20 students maximum. Justification, researchers have proven that smaller class sizes raises the performance level of the students, creating a smaller space maximizes the amount of learning and growth overall. Students score higher on tests, receive better grades, and exhibit improved attendance. That's great. Section 4, funding. All but 5% of the cost paid should be paid by the Department of Education. I'm so done. Alright, so basically at youth and government, the cop-out is to be like, the Department of Education will pay for it because they have infinite money, don't they? That's just not true. The Department of Education doesn't have infinite amount of dollars. They have a lot of money, but they don't have all the money in the world, if you're catching my drift. The Department of Education repeatedly gets cut if you pay attention. Oh, and we can't just be like, oh, now all the teachers need to have at maximum 20 students. That means you need more classes, because if there's 30 students per class, you need a lot more teachers. Like, a lot more. It's just like, you know? Or you need to make the school days longer to incorporate all their classes. It costs more than these kids think. And it's getting on my nerves that these kids do not understand the process of financing things. You just need to incorporate a tax. You need to incorporate. You need to make sure there's a property tax. You need to make sure the school is apt to deal with this whole thing. You need a long waiting period. And these people are not offering long waiting periods to try and build this up. To incorporate a law which has a maximum of 20 students in each classroom, you need significant work done to each classroom to make sure that at maximum 20 students are there, and your school needs to be able to accommodate the now increased number of classrooms that is needed, because now we're not able to put 30 kids in a classroom. I back off. The next one's just a real kicker. It's bill number 5111. An Act 2. I'll repeat it again. An Act 2. There is no title to this bill. But essentially what I'm gathering from it, from Section 1 purpose, the purpose of this bill is to have students reach their full potential in the classroom. When a student does not have enough sleep, they cannot function to the best of their abilities in school. Justification. Studies done by the University of Oxford, Harvard Medical School, and University of Nevada have all come to the same conclusion, which is students are not getting enough sleep to do the best they can at school. I propose that all high schools in my state should all start at 9 in the morning. Oh, you could have just said to change the start time till 9 a.m. It's not that hard. Anyways, no funding required. Penalties and enforcements. If a school does not comply, they will be shut down. Oh no, we started our school at fucking 8:20, like 40 minutes before our mandatory start time. I'm just saying, it is not that hard to be smart. Just use your brain. Don't shut down a school because oh my god. I wish I could have just seen the look on everybody's faces. Next, bill. Oh, there was a few good bills in a row. Alright, I'm about to pop off. Bill number 5202. Enact to ban the use of plastic bags for grocery stores in my state. I am tired of, ooh, we should protect the fucking environment by getting rid of plastic bags. Oh. Like, yes, we should do that. But you know what's not gonna help? Outright banning it. I am tired of every year seeing a bill that specifically outlines, let us ban plastic bags. Plastic bags are the new plastic bag bills are the new marijuana bills. Every single year there's like 30 of them now. I'm going insane. It is a lazy cop-out because everyone agrees we need to protect the environment and everyone is willing to ban plastic bags unless you're like in the pocket of some plastic bag distributor or something. But the problem is plastic bags are extremely convenient, they're easy to make, and they have a long-standing industry. It's just, you can't keep writing them. It's boring. Stop being boring, is what I'm saying. I might hate bills that are, like, super good and, like, had so much thought and research into them, but they're not boring. That's the thing. If you put your research into a bill, it's not going to be boring. The problem with these people are they don't put research. They slap a bill together and they call it quits. Oh, let's ban, I don't know what to write my bill on and I have 10 minutes. Oh, what if I just ban plastic bags? Don't do this. Don't. It's boring. No one's going to have fun. You're sucking the life out of youth in government. If you speak on plastic bags or plastic straws or styrofoam bag or styrofoam cups or any of that sort, you're gonna bore them. No one wants to debate plastic. Sorry, my camera cut me off there. I guess I got a little too passionate. Anyways, conclusion. Stop writing plastic bag bills. I'm bored. Next bill. Sure. Next bill. Like I said, bill number 5208, an act to ban polyester takeout containers and cups in the state that I live in. Next, bill number 5209, an act to allow Good Samaritans to break into a hot vehicle. This is already a law. It's called the Good Samaritan Law. You can break into a vehicle without legal ramifications. It's just how it be. Like, I think it was on the news. And even if they, like, the people you break into sue, they already were committing a crime by letting a small animal or a child be in a hot car on a very hot day. They're already breaking the law. They're already in the wrong. The law is on your side. Stop. It's literally already just a thing. Next bill. Senate House File 5212, an act to make all plastic straws illegal. I don't know about you, but it's just boring. Next bill. Bill File 5213, an act to increase spending for nuclear reactors. Purpose. The objective is to increase spending by $1.5 billion for the construction of new public nuclear reactors, while decreasing spending from other energy products such as wind, solar, and fossil fuels. First off, there was no commas in that sentence. Second off, we're gonna decrease spending from solar energy? A very good thing? Fund $1.5 billion for nuclear energy by taking money out of programs that we're funding. Makes sense. Hi. Oh, these people, and their justification is because renewable energy and fossil fuels are inferior. Just getting rid of something that's renewable and can last us forever and is good for the earth? Oh no. Next bill. Bill number 5302. An act to lower the age of voting eligibility to 17. First off, you're lowering it by 1 year. Who cares? Their justification was many 17-year-olds are very responsible, and I believe that they would be responsible enough not to abuse this special privilege. I don't know if this is a federal law, but I'm fairly fucking certain it's like the 23rd or 25th Amendment that essentially said, or is the 24th was like getting rid of, it might have been 24th. It was something to do with fucking that. It's like the 20s of amendments, but like after the 21st, obviously. Anyways, essentially, we lowered the voting age to 18. I'm pretty sure it's a federal law. Pretty sure it's literally a right. So, don't know how you're gonna get past that with the federal government. Next bill. Bill number 5309, an act to reform voting. Purpose. The purpose of this bill is to switch to ranked choice voting in the state that I live in. Continuing on. Justification. Ranked choice voting is better than our current system because of multiple reasons. One reason is that people will be more educated about elections. Since they are not only voting for only one candidate, they will put more research into other candidates. The second reason is the third-party candidate are more likely to get more votes. Most people are under the perception that voting for a third party is a waste of a vote because they do not get elected often. That is true. However, vote for third parties, guys. They get like $15 million if they get like 5% of the vote. So, this bill would make that perception void because in ranked choice voting, if the third party candidate didn't get elected, their vote would still go towards one of the two main parties. Oh my god, this is stupid. Alright. Ranked choice voting under definitions means the process in voting where the people rank candidates. If a candidate does not get a majority, the candidate in last place would be eliminated. Then the second choice of the voters would be eliminated Then the second choice of the voters that voted for the eliminated candidate would be chosen. Oh. So, I know what ranked choice voting is. I know what, it's like something the Academy does when, picking best film. It's just bad. It would overcomplicate the American system, and it would, I think, in my opinion, reduce democracy. Moving on. Next bill. I mean, this one's stupid, but, we're gonna, I'm gonna just say it, and then we'll all agree it's bad. An act to grant the currently incarcerated the right to vote. Anyways, moving on. I think this was a joke bill, but it's still a bill that was in here. Bill number 5312, an act to move Halloween to the last Saturday of October. Bill number 5313, an act to amend my state's constitution to require my state's Supreme Court judges to be appointed rather than elected. Okay, so basically what I'm going to say is that reduces democracy. However, there are certain ways this does help fix the corruption in the government, though. It happened during the progressive period where we made it city managers. Essentially, during that time, we to maximize efficiency and to make sure the city is running at its best potential, we got rid of elections because political machines were running everything and they were leading a high rate of corruption. And essentially, rich people would give poor people things in favor of their votes. And, getting rid of them reduced the voter turnout, and it's where it is now. However, it's still not good. We should be able to elect our judges because democracy says we should. I feel if we appoint our judges, we could just be running a corrupt system like the spoil system where we just appoint our judges for the sake of, ooh, they're my friend. But in electing it, because we no longer have political machines, we are increasing democracy instead. And I feel like judges are an important part of our democracy. So, you know, moving on. Next bill, bill number 5402. An act to enforce trigger warnings on unavoidable media. It doesn't sound bad, but hold on. Purpose. The trigger warnings to be placed 30 to 45 seconds before triggering material is shown and at the start of all unavoidable media that affects the portion of the population, about 45%, with major anxiety disorders and those that with triggers. So essentially we're saying, like, let's place a 30 to 45 second, like, warning, because they don't specify how, so you have to specify yourself. You either put it at the bottom of the TV, like the TV's like, oh, by the way, there will be something triggering on in TV in a little bit, but however, how the author of this bill was arguing it was that it's 30 to 45 second, like, screen telling you triggering media, so you can click off of it. That would just that'd bog up time on the TV. Anyways, moving on. Next bill. Bill number 5407. Created an affordable My State's healthcare program that provides for the uninsured through a universal single-payer health program. That was a mouthful. Essentially, the purpose of the bill is to reduce the amount of people who are unable to afford healthcare. That's why we have, like, Medicaid and other government and state programs, and able to access it regardless of their income for everyone in the state. The program essentially establishes a way people can obtain primary care, preventative care, regular checkups, and mental health services, and other medical benefits. This could work long-term with my state's Department of Health and my state's current insurance policy to provide my state's peoples with affordable health care. So essentially we're saying, yep. Funding. Government pays for universal coverage through taxes. Also create a fair increase of taxation on privatized stock insurance corporations by 15%. 15%. Are you kidding me? These people don't understand how taxes work. Ugh, there's a fair amount, 15%. That's more than our income tax. That's more than current large corporation taxes. Just fuck me, you know? Next bill. Bill number 5411. An act to put a stop to human trafficking by increasing security or any form of safety procedures in high-risk environments. So, valiant cause, totally accept what they're trying to do. Here's where it gets me. First off, what's a high-risk environment? It is not defined in here. It defines human trafficking. We know what human trafficking is. Defines precautions, okay? And it defines protect and serve, which is a Los Angeles thing. And it requires no funding. So if we're going to increase security, I just don't know what this person wants. According to my state's Department of Transportation, my state, the FBI identified my capital city as one of 13 U.S. cities with a particularly high incident rate of child prostitution. That's bad. I'm gonna say our capital city is pretty fucking big, and there is a lot of people living there, though, and it is notorious for crime. Like, if you trace it back to the Prohibition era, we were really just letting it slide under the belt. We were like, Tom Brown, the chief police officer of that city, was like, all right, essentially, if you pay me money, I will not arrest you as long as you do your crime in as long as you do your crime in the town over. However, because he was making so much money, he just let it happen. People were literally murdered. I was literally at a spot someone was murdered because of Tom Brown. This stupid-ass man. Oh, this bill had me cackling a little bit this morning because I was looking back at it because I didn't see it. And, you know, it's bad. Bill number 5412, an act to improve the state's information on abortion. And I was like, what does that mean? So essentially it means to specify the CPSS and their base on printed materials provided by the state to inform people of pregnancy and abortion information by specifying the opinions of the SPSS. Holy shit, this person messed up that bad. Alright. Alright, so you know how I said CPSS? Apparently it's CPCS. So, regarding abortion, comparing the medical facilities who perform them, it prevents the possible added stress onto the procedure. It keeps the same variety of resources available, but it makes the material easier to understand and navigate. So essentially we're saying, let's make sure this company's bias is known, and let's make sure their website looks good. Why? What's the point of the government's interference? Next bill. House File 5501, an act to enact a universal helmet law. Essentially, all I'm going to say is Darwinism exists for a reason, just let them kill themselves off. Moving on. House File 5503, an act to decrease traffic accidents throughout the state of my state by adding up to 3 seconds to the red clearance interval of traffic lights statewide. So, the debate was, because I was there for it, the debate was, let's add 3 seconds to traffic lights so people don't die in car accidents. However, literally, if you think about it, it is just doing the same thing. People are going to run a red light if they want to. Sure, adding 3 seconds is going to be great. Nothing's going to change, is what I'm saying. All traffic lights are different because of the density of traffic in that area. And, like, the speed limit beforehand. So adding an extra 3 seconds is not going to do jack shit. People are still going to run the red light if they feel like they need to. Sorry. Next bill. Bill number 5504, an act to initiate the development of better conditioned state highways through securing more state funds. Cool. You know, my state roads are pretty bad, you know? Winter kind of kills it every year. You know. But the problem with the bill isn't, like, what it's trying to do. It's just, I love the funding section. It's a whole 3 words and it says, raise gas taxes. Oh my god. This is the future. We are doomed. Raise gas taxes. Yeah, that'll just solve it all. Moving on. Bill number 5511. An act to abolish the motor vehicle sales tax for all vehicle sales between private parties. Why? It's making us money. It helps pay for our government. And who cares? Just pay your taxes. Just pay your taxes. Your life's easier if you just pay it. Last bill too, so, you know, have fun. Bill number 5515. Privatize the DMV. Purpose: to allow small businesses to issue all license issued by the DMV. The thing is, your driver's license is state identification. It's public identification. Fucking stupid. This year I got my driver's license and it took 3 months to get into the mail. Not only that, but the waiting list for the road test is at least a couple of months. This is unacceptable. But if we allow small businesses to do this, hopefully with competition will come better waiting lists and reasonable time for things to go through the mail. And who knows, maybe the people working there will look like they want to be there. This is literally not an excuse. This is a non-excuse for a non-problem. Just accept it. The government's slow. It's fine. Sure, competition will make things better, but it's privatizing the DMV. There's no need for it. The DMV does a lot of things for public registration. It's not just driver's license. The DMV has to be like a government property. It might not be in other states, but in our state, it works really well as a government property. I'm sorry it took a long time for you to get your driver's license. This is a non-issue. Move on. Anyways, basically I'm done. This has been a long filming session. My throat hurts and I want to take a nap. I'll see you all the next time I film when I go through the Senate's files.